So, what are you getting your Gumar for Christmas?
Cash. It's the only thing that shuts her up about being alone over the holidays.
Michelle likes ice. I'm getting a piece from a Jew in the city. T, what are you getting your new Gumar?
She did me a favor. She went to Morocco over the holidays.
On her own? She paid for it?
Yeah.
She went to Morocco? Well, who is she? Bada Bing Crosby?
Well, she's not one of those girls. She got a real job. She sells Mercedes.
Hi everyone, so we're back for another video, and I just wanted to come on here really quick to discuss my thoughts surrounding this situation with MLB player Tim Anderson, his wife Bria Anderson, and Deja name. Now, a Gumar is a slang word used commonly in the Italian community to describe a mistress. The idea around the Gumar is that she is a side chick primarily used for sex and convenience. And the majority of Italian bosses, consiglieres, and capos have a Gumar, and shows like The Sopranos depict how many of these relationships operate. Gumars might look better than the wife. They might be more pliable than the wife. They might even have better sex than the wife. And they might at times appear to be more fun than the wife. But Italian men are big on family, and although they cheat, many of them still love their wives and would never leave them. Now, you're probably wondering how a man can possibly love his wife and still cheat on her. And if you want the truth from a non-emotional and logical standpoint, I mentioned in baby mama culture that men are wired biologically different than women. And if an opportunity presents itself to where they can have sex or impregnate with no long-term consequences, they will take advantage of it. Whether it's the reverend in your pulpit, the mailman on your street, or your favorite NBA player. Pathway number 2, if a man can have sex, impregnate, and continue on about his nomadic trek, he definitely will. Now, when it comes to marriage and relationships, men rarely leave their partners. Nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. And since a man normally invests his money where his heart is, they are not crazy enough to leave for something as simple as good sex from a Gumar. It's rare that a man will actually leave his home base. And when they do, 9 times out of 10, it is because the marriage or the relationship is beyond repair, or there is infidelity on the woman's part, or to keep it simple, the woman is on a whole nother level of evil. Most men view their wives as their home base. This is where their ships are anchored. This is where they invest their money, their resources, their life insurance policies, their kids' tuition funds, their house deeds, their joint bank accounts, their assets. So being pretty and having the latest BBL ain't gonna cut it. Okay, men understand that they have too many financial obligations tied up with the women that share their last name, which again is why I constantly say in these videos, ladies, that marriage is not just a piece of paper. We are in it to have our hands in his pockets. This is the bare minimum owed to us for taking ourselves off the market, giving him access to our womb to create a legacy for him, and most importantly, simply sharing our feminine energy to cool down and balance his masculine.
Nice to meet you. I leave everything at the field and come home and be with my family. So it keeps me in a happy place and kind of gets my mind off baseball when it's going tough. You know, it's a beautiful feeling, you know, waking up every morning and seeing my daughter. She makes me become a better person. You know, I try to keep her with me every moment and give her the love and the support and, you know, show her the world. You know, I took her to Disney, and it's pretty cool for me because I'm experiencing it for the first time too. You know, growing up, we couldn't afford to, you know, go to Disney, you know, so I'm kind of cherishing those moments with her and, you know, just really do fun things and do what kids like to do, and just to keep her smiling.
Really different seeing a guy with his daughter, just seeing them love on each other and bond with each other, and you can really see that their bond is much different from the bond that I have with her. You can tell that she's got like a special love for her dad, that he's her first love. He's one of the most genuine people I know. He's got such a loving and giving heart. He's so passionate and compassionate. And I think that's one of the things that makes him such a great person and just makes him him.
So baseball is a whitewashed sport, so much so that black players stick out like a sore thumb. This year alone, blacks only made up about 7% of the MLB, with whites holding the highest rank and Hispanics in second. The color line, also known as the color barrier, was an agreement amongst owners in the major leagues to ban players who were of African descent. It also also extended to dark-skinned players of Latin descent. Back in the day, there were separate leagues for players based on skin color. And this did not begin to change until Jackie Robinson made his debut for the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Still to this day, baseball is the one sport that white people dominate, primarily because of how expensive it is. The equipment, the training, camps, and travel. And while all professional sports want their players to uphold a certain image, in the MLB, there is a much higher standard for what they allow. So bad press like Tim Anderson cheating on his wife of 6 years and actually getting another woman pregnant is a PR team's worst nightmare. And not only did he cheat on his wife, which could have been a lot easier to save face and recover from, but he cheated and had unprotected sex and created another baby outside of his marriage. And while his Gumar Deja alleges that she had no knowledge that Tim was married, I have a hard time believing that a MLB player as popular as Tim Anderson, with a 6-year, $25 million contract, all money guaranteed, did not find himself in Deja's internet search history once she met him. During an interview, she was asked how she and Tim met, and her response was she quote unquote stumbled and tripped into her current situation, which tells me everything I need to know. Not we met through friends or a family member introduced us, or I met him out one night while at a bar with girlfriends. Her response was that she stumbled and tripped into the situation, which leads me to believe that this is her guilty conscience speaking. And let's just say that she did not know from day one that he was married. We would be boo-boo the fool to think that she did not know from at least very early on. Women are the queens of research, background checks, and stalking social media pages. So you know this man is in the MLB, but he ain't got no Instagram, he ain't got no Twitter. He's young. He don't have a paper trail. It's no possible way that she did not know. She's trying to pull this card for women to continue having empathy for her. When I did my research for this video, it didn't even take me long to be able to find the actual wedding footage from Tim and Bria's wedding back in 2017. Now, the easiest thing to do is to come online and bash Deja, but honestly, that's too easy. Deja and Tim are both equal partners in this mess that they created 50-50. Now, this is what I see. Tim already went wrong by stepping outside of his marriage to have sex with another woman. Where he really went wrong was getting emotionally involved with Deja, playing house, letting her take photos and videos of him, being seen out in public with her. Gumar's supposed to stay in their place, and that's Tim's problem. He treated his Gumar almost like a mini wife without the intention of ever leaving his actual wife. And so that's created the audacity that we see in Deja and has validated her in coming online to blast the internet with all of her and Tim's private photos and videos. Deja's viewed this situation to be more than what it was, which goes back to what I said at Amygdala. If Deja was really about that life, she would have kept this baby on the hush, and she would be extorting Tim and running his pockets for the next 18 years. She would be in a lawyer's office telling Tim to drop a bag and be on about her way. But the truth is that Deja wants to be the wife. She wants the wife privilege, and it pains her to see Bria to continue moving forward in her marriage with Tim. If Tim told Deja right now that he would drop everything and leave his wife and kids to marry her, I can guarantee you that Deja would not hesitate to say yes. You see, Deja done gave her cookie up to a married man, and now she's attached, doing interviews and attempting to create beef with Bria. It's the audacity for me. See, women fall in love through what a man says, through his words, which is why most men understand that if they take your mind before they get the cookie, they can pretty much get you to do anything. But if Tim didn't leave his wife after the first time they had sex, he never planned to. So coming online to make a fool out of yourself and putting hard eyes over a year later under all of his photos just tells me how pressed Deja is, that she's trying to do whatever that she can to get a rise out of Bria. And the sad part about it is that no one wins here. Deja is now a single mother of 3 kids with 2 baby daddies, and her daughter, who is of age with internet access, has asked her mother why people are talking about her online. And many women in these situations fail to realize that when you take this route, running strictly off of emotions, you fail to position your child in the best financial position possible, because the worst thing that a Gumar can do is make the man look bad. Once you reach out to the wife, wife, once you make a Facebook post, once you go public and start doing interviews, the man is going to build animosity towards you. So now he's going to do whatever in his will to make sure that you get the bare minimum that his financial portfolio will allow by court order. He might even get to switching and rearranging some assets around. And while it's not fair to the child, it was never created out of real intention. And because men are prideful and egotistical at times, many of them will take the route of the bare minimum. You see, the plan was never to leave his wife. Thanks to my Gumar for a good time and thrills. Enjoy this third baby to take care of. You get the bare minimum amount owed for child support. But as far as the around-the-clock demands required to raise a child, have fun, because I'm going to be at home with my wife and kids. Baby mama culture personified. Now, as far as Bria goes, her husband's sloppiness and failure to uphold his marital vows has forced her to deal with public embarrassment and humiliation. And although she has not said much outside of the fact that she plans to continue working through her marriage with Tim, the truth is that this mess should have never gotten to the point where it even crossed her threshold. It should have never gotten to the point where Bria should have to go online to defend her marriage. And as the protector of his household, Tim should have stood on business and kept his D in his pants. And interestingly, I watched interviews of Bria and Deja, and the difference that I noticed is that Bria gives very much wife. Beyond classy, poised, well-spoken. She seemed very down to earth and was obviously in love with her husband. And the interview with Deja gave very much fun girl, a fun time, immature with no real remorse or true acknowledgement for the severity of the situation, far from wife energy. And while my gut tells me that Bria is staying because of the fact that she loves Tim and wants to truly work things out in her marriage, some women would be looking at the alternative of staying for the long game in order to gain leverage on the back end post-divorce, meaning that they would strategically use this opportunity of infidelity, which has been documented on the World Wide Web, in order to get prenups canceled, get that big investment needed for their business, new cars, or to get him to buy that large property solely in her name so that if they decide to stay, there is an understanding that if it happens again, divorce is the next step with accumulated assets plus half of everything he owns. Boundary commandment number 8, never deal with married men. Women that get involved with married men get entangled because they do not know their worth. They do not respect themselves, and the majority of the time, these women are not really even getting anything from it. No real money, no real properties, no real investments, no real financial security. You see, the only thing that these women are getting are real babies, which create more broken homes within the Black community. Real lies, real trauma, real facades, and real, I'ma leave my wife this time, I promise. Until next time.